I love photography and videography because it allows you to capture what is good at any given moment, like a time capsule of sorts. I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a sentimental person, but I do get nostalgic, and I've found that film allows me to capture this feeling best. This feeling, which evidently follows some of my sweetest memories. This is an ode to the decade. A decade. 10 years. That's a long time when you really stop to think about it, especially when it constitutes half your lifetime. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Starting in middle school, what an awkward time. This is when I began showcasing my creativity. I even attempted to film my first ever vlog with my best friend, Catherine. We also tried to make a music video one time. I started getting into photography, went on my first ever cruise, got to go horseback riding on the beach, and made these collages. In middle school, I got really into creative writing and wrote and self-published my own novel. I actually don't have the original manuscript of it, again, not a sentimental person, and I had a poem published in a poetry book. I loved riding horses and was even in a rodeo once. My event was barrel racing, and by the time that Clark, the horse that I was riding, and I got to perform, it was at the very end at night, and so he was just so over it and didn't really want to run, as you can see here. But looking back on it, it was so much fun. And yes, I was so excited that I got to horseback ride on the beach. Can't you tell? After that, I gave up horseback riding to pick up dance again. I did ballet and lyrical and choreographed a solo that I performed for my 8th grade talent show. I also tried to cut my own bangs once. And I played basketball for a year, but then in 8th grade I did cross country. We'll run into this again. Pun most definitely intended. Moving on to high school, it was simultaneously both like and not like the movies. I did track and cross country for a year, and my event for track was discus throwing, which I wasn't actually great at. I stopped running because I ended up getting really bad tendonitis in my foot. I started my YouTube channel back in 2014, and I actually don't have my first video ever, but it was a Target haul. I got more and more into photography. I loved mixed media and DIYs, and even flipped this desk that I had in my room, as well as this nightstand. 2 years in, I transferred to a school that was literally a jail, invested in my first DSLR. We were all pretty excited, and continued being in front of and behind the camera. I took a studio art class and actually won an art show for this master study on George Washington. I did hair and makeup for my school plays for a couple of years, had some small roles in a couple more plays, and was the stage manager for a play my senior year. I did Science Bowl for 2 years and started a trivia club called Jeopardy. Yeah, I know. I wrote my senior thesis on social media in the business world and graduated in 2017 in a small class of 12. I had a very indecisive college search until deciding on the college that I currently attend. I came into college on multiple scholarships but knew no one. but I moved into my dorm and quickly became really good friends with my roommate. Even though we hung out a lot, I had a hard time finding a place in a community until campus outreach found me my second semester. This is the first time I had truly began to understand what the gospel is. I remember at the first meeting I attended, we were going through the book of James, and this verse from the first chapter of James really stuck out to me, just to count it all joy even in times of trials. And although I had finally found such an awesome community, I personally had a hard time putting myself out there and continued to keep to myself for the most part. In the meantime, I continued making more and more YouTube videos and had so much fun with it. On February 17th, 2018, I got in a bad accident and broke my spine. I didn't get back on my feet again until 50 hours later. Then I got to wear this back brace for about 6 weeks, and I kind of looked like a Ninja Turtle, not gonna lie. Although it was hard to be so quickly pulled away from something that was just starting to get really exciting, it was so encouraging to experience all of the support I received and to be able to rest and spend time with my family. I love these photos because one day I just wasn't feeling super cute, just wanted to have a photo shoot, but I couldn't take my back brace off unless I was on my back, so my friend and I laid down this tapestry and had a little photo shoot. All of this led me to go on a 3-week leadership project with Campus Outreach, where I got to be around some amazing people and learn what it really means to be a follower of Christ. I also purchased my first ukulele, learned as much as I could in the first 3 days, and haven't really improved since. I moved into my first apartment for the upcoming school year. I also began my first official job at David's Bridal and really began coming out of my shell. And then came 2019, which has been the best year of my life to date. I finally became much more involved in my ministry and have made so many amazing friends. I started going back to church and I honestly love this community so much. Over the summer, I moved into my first house, was accepted into business school, worked a second job at Abercrombie Kids, and a third dog sitting. Moved into my second house, long story, and I live with some of the best girls. I started doing the photography and videography for my ministry and began practicing my creativity in different ways. I refound my love for adventure and for capturing the things I experience. And I became a rep for my favorite brand. This past year, many people have asked me what I want to do in life, and I'm pretty sure I've told everyone something different. Here's the simple answer. I'm still trying to figure that out. Overall, I'm so thankful for all of the friends I've met who have taught me so much along the way, both those pictured and not pictured. I got to travel a lot. There were lots of family adventures. I really started finding my style, thank goodness, and my niche, even on YouTube. I've produced upwards to 200 YouTube videos.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost.
I learned how to pennyboard, kind of. And most importantly, I grew closer to God and learned what it means to have a relationship with Him. I closed the decade out by attending the Passion 2020 conference, and it was such an encouraging reminder to continue pursuing the Lord and to trust my life with the one who created it. So what's next for me? I have hopes and dreams, of course, and could start with many guesses, but I really couldn't tell you for sure.